guys, welcome to this week's vlog. This video is going to be a bit different from previous vlogs as I have not really been playing or gigging too much the past week, so I haven't really had much to put in my vlog. So instead I figured I'd just talk about something that might be useful to other musicians and other guitar players in particular. So the subject of today's video is the top 5 books for every guitar player. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Creative Guitar 2. Now, if you're looking to improve the technical aspects of your playing, then this book is perhaps all you need to help achieve that goal. It was published in 2002, before YouTube existed, and therefore before most Guthrie Govan fans knew who he was. This was obviously before people started discovering him through his first videos for Jam Track Central. The book covers a wide range of techniques, including ones you will have heard of before, like alternate picking, legato, string skipping, sweep picking, even 8-finger tapping. But there's also some other interesting concepts in there that you may not have thought about or heard of before, including emulating the sound of other instruments with your guitar. I have Creative Guitar 1 in my collection as well, although when I got it I kind of realised that it elaborated on techniques and concepts I was already familiar with as a player, including like pentatonic scales, minor and major arpeggios. So it's Creative Guitar 1 is sort of more for the beginner to intermediate. If you've been playing for a bit longer and you consider yourself more of an advanced player and are looking to develop your technique, then I recommend going straight for Creative Guitar 2. And yeah, if you are a beginner, buy both volumes and start with volume 1 obviously and work your way up. Up next we have the Frank Gambale Technique Books 1 and 2. Frank Gambale's twin volume book on soloing theory for all guitarists is a must-have for anyone who wishes to extend their improvisational vocabulary and discover new ways to solo over different chord types. In the book, Frank breaks down music into 6 different chord types and their applicable scales. For each chord type, he describes 5 different approaches to soloing for each applicable scale. The chord types are minor 7th, major 7th, unaltered dominant, altered dominant, minor 7 flat 5, and diminished chords. The approaches you can use for these are scales, pentatonics and blues, arpeggios, triads, and intervals. If you're a player like myself who typically relies on pentatonics and major scale modes to improvise with, then you can probably see just how beneficial this book could be to your playing if you committed to using it in your practice routine. It is a bit overwhelming when you realise just how many approaches you could use to solo over one chord type, but like any other guitar book, you really just have to take your time with it and not rush through it, and in the end you will get there. The third book I'm going to talk about today is Chord Chemistry by Ted Green. If you want to learn more about chords and are looking for a book to help you with that, then look no further. This is often described by guitarists as the Bible. Chord Chemistry is a legendary guitar book that was published in the 1970s by Ted Green, who was sadly quite a relatively unknown guitar player. This guy was absolutely incredible. If you've never heard him play before, just go on YouTube, type in Ted Green. I'm sure you'll find a few of his videos. There's a really good clinic. There's a really good video of a clinic he did once on YouTube that you should definitely go and watch. Anyway, back to the point. This book contains every and any possible chord shape you could think of. This book contains every and any possible chord shape you can think of. Some of the chord shapes are very useful and easy to incorporate into your playing, and some of them are quite limited in terms of appropriate application, and some of them are near impossible to play, trust me on that. At first glance, this is a very daunting book to begin studying with. Ted notes that the section Essential Chords should take you months at least to get through. This section is 2 pages long. However, you have to realise that this is not just some guitar book that you spend a couple of months studying with and then never look at again. this is a book that will help you through a lifetime of playing guitar. When I first started looking at this book, I kind of struggled to find a way to incorporate the new chord shapes into my playing. So I asked my guitar teacher, who studied this book extensively throughout his formative years as a player, and he recommended that I take a look at the blues progression section right here, as it takes the chord shapes you've learned in the essential chords section and it applies them to a blues and jazz progression, or a jazz blues progression, sorry. One thing I really like about this book is that it feels so personal compared to a lot of guitar books you see nowadays. It's like every chord shape you see in this book has been handwritten out by Ted. And from reading the introduction, you can tell that he really hoped that players would benefit from using this book. At the end of the introduction it says, "It is hoped that this book will help you to increase the amount of enjoyable music in the world." I love that quote. Coming in at number 4, we have The Jazz Theory book by Mark Levine. Even if you're not a jazz player and have no intention of becoming a jazz player, I highly recommend that you get Mark Levine's book on jazz theory, as it contains all the information you could possibly ever need or want to know about contemporary music theory as opposed to classical theory. It's around 500 pages in length, but don't let that put you off. As Esperanza Spalding says at the start of the book in her testimonial, you should take around 2 pages a day, or you should aim to at least, which immediately makes it feel like less of a chore to get through. The book is split into 5 sections, and each section has a number of subsections. Even though the concepts, or at least some of the concepts, may seem quite advanced, every section is explained in a way that is very clear and easy to understand. One thing I do have to say about this book is that you will need some sort of basic sight reading ability, and by sight reading I don't mean tab, I mean notated music, like manuscript. Because this book is not written for guitar players specifically, it's written for musicians of any instrument. In fact, it was originally called a jazz piano book, which is why a lot of the examples are written in both bass and treble clef. But so long as you can read both bass and treble clef, you shouldn't have a problem with this book. And since we're talking about sight reading, this leads me on to our final book. This is William Levitt's A Modern Method for Guitar, Volumes 1 to 3. This is published by the Berkeley Press, and this is a book that I've been studying with for the past 3 years. It's what my guitar teacher uses to teach his students with for sight reading. And yeah, it's made up of 3 volumes, but as you can see, you can buy them all in the one book, which is very handy. It starts off with the most basic of reading exercises, along with pieces for you to play through, and it gradually guides you through more advanced material. Personally, I'm not so interested in becoming an extremely proficient sight reader. I remember reading an article about Steve Vai during one summer when he was studying at Berkeley. He said that he practiced sight reading obsessively for like 2 or 3 months, and he only left his house for social occasions twice that summer. So I'm definitely not that obsessive about sight reading, but I strongly encourage those of you that don't sight read already to go out and get this book and learn some basic sight reading at least, because it will really help you out a lot if you can sight read and you want to be a professional guitarist, if you want to do session work or even theatre work. As helpful as ultimateguitar.com is, you will find that in a lot of professional jobs you're not going to be presented with a sheet with tab on it. It's going to be notated music. So if you can sight read, that will only benefit your career as a professional guitarist. I think this is one of the best books out there for that. Alright guys, those are my top 5 books for guitar players. Of course, these are my own personal recommendations and books that I've picked from my collection. So if there are any other books that I didn't include in this video that you guys might use and you might swear by, then please leave a comment below with your suggestion. I always love discovering new guitar books, so yeah, leave a comment below with your suggestion, please. If you're new to my channel, I make a new music related vlog every single Friday, And if you like this video, please hit the like button below, that would really help me out, and hit subscribe so that you never miss another video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you again next Friday.